All right, Captain Riley Tejcek, United States Marine Corps, U.S. Olympian bobsled team. What is scarier, being a Marine or going in a bobsled at what, 90 miles an hour?
Yeah, crashing 90 miles an hour in a bobsled is scarier. By far the scariest thing I've ever done, for sure, 100% hands down.
So, what got you? I mean, it's like you just were like, I'm gonna. What are the two most scariest, difficult things on earth that I can do? Like, so maybe you have crab fishing in your future. I don't know, maybe, but what what led you to the bobsled? Like one of the most fascinating things, about your career and your story.
I will tell you, I didn't just wake up one day and say, I'm just gonna do something crazy, but something similar did happen, you could say, looking back on it now. Background behind me was I was a Division I softball player. My dad was a professional baseball player. So sports was always in my DNA. And I wanted to compete and I wanted to be an athlete for as long as I possibly could, which is what initially drove me to the Marine Corps. The fact that when I was talking to a recruiter, I realized, wait a minute, I can continue to be an athlete. What I say all Marines are tactical athletes, train, eat, sleep, adjust to hit a mission similar to in the game forever. Let's do it. I'm in. Because for me, as a female, once college sports was over, I didn't really see any progression for the future, to be honest.
Yeah,
So I try to just maximize everything I could. And that's just unfortunately the statistics for men and women in general, even getting to the collegiate level, you're only going to find a really small amount. And I was at the Division I highest level. But then to go past that was almost unheard of, you couldn't even comprehend, especially the sport of softball. There wasn't a whole lot of opportunity. So I saw the Marine Corps and I was like, that's what I'm doing. And little 18-year-old me decided that that's the path I wanted to go on. So I commissioned when I was 22. And at this point, bobsled was not on my radar. So people ask me all the time, where are you from? Were you from like Minnesota? Like, how do you, like they don't even know where the bobsled tracks are, right? But they just assume bobsledding, you grew up doing it. I actually did not start the sport till I was 22, 23 years old. So it was later on in life. And for anyone who is younger than me, may never not know the reference of Cool Runnings. But anyone who does know Cool Runnings, okay, and yeah, that better put a smile on everyone's face who knows the movie. You should watch it, first of all. But that was my interaction of bobsled initially, young growing up. That was it. All I knew was Cool Runnings. The sport existed. But what is true to that is that you take former top level athletes and you transition them into bobsledders. No one wants their 5-year-old experiencing 5G forces at 90 miles an hour to disrupt head, neck, brain development. Makes
yeah,
sense. Makes sense. So it's a sport that you enter later on in life. It's just when, how, all these things and coming together. I'm a very, very strong Christian woman. And so I don't believe that anything happened on accident. But where I went to school, my college actually, George Washington University, and I played softball. There was another athlete that is now one of the most decorated Black athletes to this day, just won her first gold medal in the past games in February at the Olympics. Alana Myers Taylor also played softball at GW. So now you can kind of see these dots coming together a little bit. So I am playing Division I softball. I know the Marine Corps is what's next for me. Then I meet this bobsledder. And this bobsledder, Alana, had just won silver in 2018. I was a college softball player and captain at the time. So I presented her like an award based off of the softball team. And I'm just sitting, listening to her speak, almost like drooling sometimes, like on the edge of my seat, just like listening to everything she has to say about going 90 plus miles an hour and traveling the world and crashing and blacking out and not being able to keep going. But the adrenaline and the rush and everyone else was like, gosh, that's terrifying. And I'm like, tell me more. Like, like, and I think it's kind of that mentality. People ask, is a screw loose in you? I don't know. I decided to join the Marine Corps. I decided to do bobsled. I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, if you will. But 2018 seed was planted, but that was it. That was it. I didn't revisit it to a little bit later on in life because my primary focus was the Marine Corps. And if anyone tells you that that's it, earning your Eagle Globe and Anchor and becoming an officer is easy, they are absolutely mistaken. There's a reason why only 1% of the population, less than that, is even eligible and will make it through training. So the Marine Corps was my path. So it wasn't until after I hit the fleet that it's COVID I'm located in San Diego, and the whole world is shut down. And compared to other people that maybe at the time made excuses of why they weren't going to do things, you best believe I was going to find a way to take advantage of the circumstances and situations that was around me. And I said, I want to keep competing. I don't know how, but I'm going to keep figuring out a way to compete. My initial thought was, I'm going to join the Marine Corps softball team. Makes sense. However, COVID shut that down. So, like any Marine, I'm too stubborn to say no and to stop. And I actually saw bobsled was having tryouts, and these tryouts were taking place in Utah, which wasn't too far away from me. I knew that there was a port starboard schedule, 2 weeks on and off, sometimes with COVID cases. There was a 2 week tryout in Utah. So, being bold and courageous and waking up and literally having the idea, I'm sitting in my office. I closed the door. I picked up the phone and I called one of the coaches. Cold call. It's what I do in recruiting now. So, I'm used to it. Cold call the coach. Hey, you, this is me. This is who I am. Here's my background. I'm going to be trying out for your team, and I wanted you to hear it from me first. I'm a Marine, I'm an officer, and I'm dedicated. And I think I'm going to be a bobsledder for you someday. Hung up the phone, and sometimes you fake it till you make it. I'm like, I don't know where that came from, but Lord, if that was from you, like I don't know, like that was a little overconfident, not cocky, but putting my best foot forward there. And then I had to put my money where my mouth was. I had been over a year out of being a collegiate athlete. I was so focused on Marine training, which was not bobsled training, which was not heavy sprinting, putting on weight and muscle, heavy 3 repetition squat, power clean. I readjusted my training, and the next thing you know, my command blessed me the opportunity to do the 2 weeks to go and train and do the tryout. The main thing that they said there, which I always hit on, that I echoed the Marines, was, at the time, Lieutenant Tejcek, you had proven that you could maintain and manage your work as a Marine, so we will afford you this opportunity. It wasn't just, hey, here you go, this is given to anybody. It was,
Mhm.
you're performing, you show capability. This is a good news story. We want to reward positive behavior. Why don't you go do this thing and then come back and get it out of your system? Little did they know what started and what happened in those 2 initial weeks of doing the sport of bobsled. I absolutely fell in love, and I had a knack for it. And I believe that the Lord looked out for me, opened this clear path. The next thing you know, I was able to compete for 5 total years, compete in 2 world championships, made the highest national level team, was able to compete in Olympic team trials ultimately to try to make the 2026 team, all while serving active duty, while having a 6 month deployment to Iraq, while maintaining every single training officer requirement you could possibly imagine, and literally doing both while balancing active duty and trying to pursue something as crazy as doing it Olympic sport while being full-time active duty.
I think one
That's
of the
incredible.
of like everything that you said, one of the things that I love that's the most powerful is, picking up the phone saying, I'm going to be there. I'm going to
Mhm.
do this. We do regular lives in a couple different communities, Twitch, TikTok, and continuously have people saying like, "Hey, I think, or I'm thinking about, or this or that." And I mean, I kind of, if you can dream it, be it. I tell them, I'm like, "Listen, don't ask me if you can be a Marine. If you come in here and you tell me I'm going to be a Marine, I'm going to go to boot camp. I'm like, I'm going to believe you, right? Like that's the mentality that you have to take. And so to do what you did, as an officer, active duty Marine, and with bobsledding, like that just exemplifies and reinforces that when you say you're going to do something, you manifest it, you bring it to, fruition. It's incredible. Really
Yeah,
awesome.
the way I put it is I tell people my secret that I biggest piece of advice I'd give anyone is speak your goals out loud. There's so many goals and dreams and desires that people have. I believe those dreams and desires on your heart from the Lord based off of individual gifts, right? Not everyone's going to wake up and be like, I want to be a bobsledder or I want to be a Marine, right? Like it's just not going to happen. But each one of us has gifts and talents and a desire in our heart that is there for some kind of reason or your passion or your purpose. And when you're able to articulate that out loud, there's so much power in that. And then I'm going to take it one step further, expressing it out loud to
Yes.
someone else, because that's what holds you accountable. So everything
Mhm.
that I've done, bobsled, Marine Corps, writing my book, going to a pageant, being on TV shows, everything that I've said, I've spoken out loud and I have told people that I'm going to do it. And what I can promise you I'm not is I'm not a liar and I don't go back on my word. Now, just because I put myself out there does not mean that I've always been able to be successful. Other
Sure.
people have told me no and I failed. I failed way more times than I can imagine. So let me just say that. However, when I speak my goals out loud and I say I'm going to do it, all of a sudden that triggers accountability. And if you have an ounce of discipline into your body, you will realize that accountability piece, you best hold yourself to your word because ain't nobody's going to like a liar and no one wants to be around yourself or you won't want to be around yourself if you say you're going to do things and you never do it.
Yeah. We say that a lot, especially Neil and I are both sober guys. Um, and one of the biggest things, and it's scary, like you said, say it to someone else. So when we put it out there for the world on social media and we talk about those things, it is scary to do because you know that, not to get negative here or anything, but it feels like the world is waiting for you to fail, right? And now if you fail, you don't just fail yourself quietly in your house because you took a drink, you fail in front of everyone. And yeah, I love just I want to reinforce, what Riley just said on speaking it out loud. I would go ahead and imagine if I asked you, do you have a daily affirmation?
I do.
Yeah. Every day, every morning.
Oh, yeah, and I actually teach it to kiddos. So when I do my daily readings and I read my book, I it's Military Appreciation Month. We just had Military Child Month. I teach these to the kids. So yeah, I read them the book, but I tell them three things, and I make them do hand signals. But even for children, I remind them, I'm like, "You are loved." I make them hold a heart. I said, "You are strong," and I make them give me like a really strong, whatever. The boys love it. And then I say, "And you are brave," and give a little like warrior stance of whatever that looks like. I'm like, "You are loved, you are strong, and you are brave." And those are affirmations that I'm like, I want our children to know so they can walk out in purpose and know that they're cared for. That if no one's told them they love them, they know that they're loved by somebody, even if that's me. They know that they're strong and they can put themselves out there. That's what this book is about. Everything we talked about. Joshua 1:9 is my Bible verse of being bold and courageous and strong and being brave. Being brave means putting yourself out there, like we talked about, which means it's not always going to work out the way you want, but if you're gonna fall, you're gonna get back up. I promise you, because you're strong and you know that you're loved and you have a support system if all else fails.
This is
And
awesome. Like I gotta say, like I love the book. My daughter is aspiring. She's telling me, Dad, I want to be a Marine too. And yeah, yeah. So I was like, yeah, and I was like, wait a minute, yeah. But I know what book I know what book I have to get her next. She's got a World War II collection going right now. She's got both sledge books, so she's into it, and she's just over the last few months, maybe a year, she's grabbed onto it like tightly, and she's like, Dad, yeah, Marines are cool. That's where it's at, So yeah, I know which book to get her now.
Well, be careful
Next one
saying
on
that
the
to a
list.
Marine recruiter. Be
Right. I was
careful
just
saying
gonna
that to
say,
someone in
and
recruiting.
that's what I was gonna say next. I was like, maybe she's gonna be 18 in 5 years. Maybe she falls under your command or something.
it's crazy
That
how
Never
things
is.
know.
work out.
Never
You
know. It's
never
a small
know.
enough world. Yeah, it's a small enough world.
So since you brought up the recruiting,
Mhm.
do you want to talk about what that experience has been like for you? It's
Mhm.
it's enlisted recruiting.
No, officer,
So oh
actually.
so
Mhm. Kind of different. Yeah, so I can explain it just a little bit.
yes.
I Everything I've done in the Marine Corps, I'm a logistics officer by trade, but everything about the way I see command and leadership is about impact. Where can I go to obviously best benefit me with like the needs and skills I have, but also where can I best benefit the Marine Corps, right? And obviously there's going to be times when I need to act as a logistics officer and do different jobs there. But recruiting is a whole different beast. Something that I actually requested, something that I was noticing just in general by sharing my story. I found a lot of passion by talking to people and individuals and trying to be that person that I had when I was 18 years old, making the decision to join the Marine Corps, which changed the trajectory of my life forever. Because, like this book, I never saw a woman serving in the Marine Corps ever growing up. So I didn't know it was feasible, I didn't know it was possible. So I want to be able to be that person for other people, lead by example, if you will, and get in the beast of recruiting to find the young men and women that I know are going to carry the flag forward once I step aside. And I think that's what we all want, right? everyone who's served in any capacity. I want to be able to pass the torch off to people, the next generation, to be able to carry forward what we've done, but go beyond what we've ever been able to do capacity wise. So I found a lot of fulfillment in recruiting, and my job is with Western recruiting region. So I see the whole Western half of the US as an asset to do officer procurement. So I'm searching for even lawyers. So I'll search for my judge advocates. I'll search for one of my passions is going to universities and schools and speaking to their athletic departments. So I'm looking for other, not only Division 1, but all level athletes, because I believe athletes become awesome Marines because every Marine is a tactical athlete anyways. So if you have some kind of athletic background, just like me, you're able to continue to pursue and push that needle forward. So I do all different kinds of officer procurement. However, I assist with the enlisted mission as well. I'm not um, immune to helping people. I've gotten plenty of people through the door into different RSs on the enlisted side as well, and try to be a good representative. It's just easier to recruit people that I can speak to. I've never been to boot camp. I've never been enlisted. I can't speak to it. I know from its experience working with my Marines, but I try to stick in my lane of, hey, here's what I know. Here's what I've experienced. If I can do it, you can do it. And let's get you to that.
Yeah, that's I run into that a lot also. So, and if you don't mind, because I think this could be very beneficial for a lot of the questions we get. This could
Mhm.
be a little bit of a kind of a sidetrack from probably how the rest of the conversation will go. But since you are here, we get asked a lot about, should I go enlisted? Should I go enlisted first? Should I, I have a college degree. Should I do enlisted and then go officer? There's all these questions. And for me, because I never did the officer track, however, I have served with Mustangs, had a
Mhm.
couple lieutenants that were Mustangs. Some of the advice that I try to give them is, well, like one we had, he did Marine Reserves while he was going to college. He was
Mhm.
recon, and then once he graduated, he went to OCS and became got his earned his commission that way. Um, do you kind of do any kind of that counseling career path where when people ask these questions, can you kind of, I know it's a lot, right? It's a lot of moving parts, but is there maybe like kind of something you could say, like, hey, if you're here, maybe think of this, this, this. Are you able to do that?
Yeah, the hard part is I hate the word "it depends." I hate saying that. However, it is sometimes case by case basis on what's the best for the individual.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say in general. If you have a need and desire to join the Marine Corps, let's freaking get you in the Marine Corps because it's the best organization and it's the best gun club and club that you will ever be a part of in general, not just war fighters, but also just humans and people. And like that's the end of the day, the mission. Yes, we have different numbers that we're trying to hit enlisted officer. I don't care. Get you in the freaking club. Like, let's get you in one way or another. However, there's different approaches. And so I like to say this two ways. Some people have college degrees and don't want the roles and responsibilities of becoming an officer. And that's very fair. I've met several people that are like, hey, I think of it this way. It was explained to me. If you are playing chess, would you rather be the ones moving the pieces or would you rather be moved? So would you rather relinquish that control or have that control? Some people are like, no, I went to school, I went to college, and I just want to be told what to do. And I want to have some of the kick butt jobs that the enlisteds do that the officers cannot. And that's up my alley. And I'm like, you know what? Appreciate it. Then do that. So I would first ask the question of, regardless of where people are at in life, is are you wanting to be the one to move the chess pieces and call the shots and not be in the action? Or would you rather be the ones that maybe has a chance to see a little bit more of it in the front face, but someone else is telling you where to move and how to go? That's my best differentiate, like straight off the bat, officer enlisted. From there, obviously you have to have a college degree to become an officer. I always recommend my enlisted brothers and sisters look into all the options of becoming enlisted to officer. Why? When you are being led by people, and if you look at someone else and your boss and you say, I want to be like them, there's a reason, there's a purpose why that's on your heart, pursue it. However, it comes with a price. You have to have your college degree. So whether or not you do it online, whether you do it while you're serving, whether you're in the reserve capacity and focusing on that, pursue that. That's going to take you some time. But as you're doing it, at least you're learning what being a Marine Corps or Marine Corps um, a Marine means within the Marine Corps, and you're learning these things. So I believe sometimes they make better officers because you can speak to knowing what it was like to lead those individuals. However, there's some individuals like myself. I was 18, I was motivated. I said, no, I'm finishing my 4 years. I'm playing college softball. I'm not going to go back on it. I'll wait and I'll prepare myself as much as possible so I can become an officer when time is ready. I think it depends on the individual and what they're looking for. But my biggest advice would be, hey, we're the best team you're ever going to find. Come be on the team at any capacity. And there's multiple ways to get to the end result that you're looking for. The biggest thing, and I'll foot stomp this, is communicate. And we've already talked about this. Speak it out loud. If you're like, hey, I'm going to come in, but I have a plan to get my degree and I want to become an officer, that's on you to communicate. No one's going to care more about your journey and your pipeline in the Marine Corps than you ultimately.
I love it. That I think actually benefit me moving forward with having these conversations. I get so many questions. Like somebody even told me this dude's like, I wish you were my recruiter. Like, I'm like, no, dude, I'm good, right? Like, I'm good doing what I'm doing on this side of things, but I don't sugarcoat anything. You know, anytime somebody comes in, they're like, hey, should I join the Marine Corps or the Army? I say, Army. I'm like, because if you come in here and you don't know if you want to be a Marine, and
Yeah.
respectfully, all the other branches, all of the other branches have great MOS job career opportunities. I'm like, you come in here and tell me like, hey, I want to be a Marine. What do I need to do? Okay, we'll talk. Um, and then I think another thing maybe I took away from it, just tell me if I'm just straight up wrong, is you talked about if you want to get in, let's get you in. So do you like the idea of like if I came to you 18, I'm like, I want to be a Marine right now today, but like I do want to be an officer. I mean, obviously MESAP is a process, you know, one way we could go. But also if I wanted to go to college and I had opportunities maybe like yourself where I was going to play athletes. I was going to play whatever. I say weird things. I can do it. It's my show. But I had that opportunity to like maybe do the
Mhm.
reserve thing like one of my lieutenants did, and then go for your commission afterwards. Like just get yourself in, get in the environment, learn how things work, and then pursue the next step.
Yeah, I just think asking the question, putting your desires out there. We have an ROTC scholarship for a reason. If you're a high schooler and you're like, I want to become an officer, but I don't know if I can pay for college right away, did you even know about this program? Did you know that you're able to apply for it? Did you know there's a thing such as the Naval Academy that you can apply multiple times and go that way and become a Marine ultimately, right? So I just say this because you don't know what you don't know. And I'm glad that people are asking you questions. And that's how you're able to learn through shared experiences. But there's so many ways to get you to where you want to be. But my main thing is, to your point, it's a question, yes or no. Do you want to be a Marine? Yes or no? And you should know that off the bat. That's why we say the uniform, what we do, our pride, like sells itself. I'm not going to sell you on trying to join the Marine Corps. Um, it does the jobs for me. However, to get you to yes and get you to your end state of what you want, I can talk and navigate you on the best path and the best way to get you there.
So we're in OCS now, right? We
Mhm.
got in, we're in OCS. What was that experience like? Because you are,
Mm.
so let me also say, you are the first officer we've ever had on the show. You're the first female service member we've ever had on a show. Like you're our Ofa May. Your Tales from the Corps is Ofa May.
1918
Um,
over here.
so, you know, one of the things is, you know, I'm sure you've seen some of the reels, and we don't got to go, you ain't got to go enlisted side of things where we've talked about boot camp experiences and the things DIs and stuff say, but we'd love to hear OCS, what that
Yeah.
experience was like.
So I will start by saying there's a couple different pipelines when you go to officer candidate school, and you go for a certain amount of time depending on how old you are or where you fall in certain places. So to break it down easy, you're either there for 10 weeks or 6 weeks at a time. Pretty cut and dry. I did 2 6 weeks. So in totality, I did 12 total weeks. That's because I was 18. I was young. I was able to go after my freshman year and then after my junior year to complete it. Some people we find later in life, they go 10 weeks, get it over with. So if I reference multiple times going to OCS, that's why it's not like I failed. What I can tell you, I've never been to boot camp. However, I work on the depot. I would say one of the biggest differences that I've noticed and what I have been able to take is when you go to officer candidate school, we instill more of that leadership portion. So we evaluate you in three different categories and areas: leadership, which is the highest, academics, and your physical fitness. Unlike boot camp, you're supposed to lead physical fitness from the front. There is no such thing as a second class. There is no such thing as a 235. If you're 235, you're on the cusp, right? How can you be leading from the front if my dog's in the back? So everything that we do is like ramped up. Your expectations exceed, and we drop people. So that's the difference. Is when you go to boot camp, you're in. Like you're gonna figure it out one way or another, or you're gonna be held here. Officer candidate school, it's like, we don't promise you anything. And let me tell you, we're going to put a DOR drop in request in front of your face. We're going to drop you if you fail academics, leadership, physical fitness, and anything else you do that we don't think is a characteristic of going to become and make a good officer. And oh, by the way, by the end of this, if you don't want to be here, there's a door. We don't want you. Don't accept your commission. So there's a little bit more of an ownership piece, and there's a higher expectation level that we have straight off the bat for officers. And we're put in more scenarios and situations of leadership positions where you're going to fail. You're going to fail no matter what. And how do you respond to that failure? And that's what I found initially to be one of the most frustrating things, is leading a group of my peers at the time, of individuals that are a platoon worth. So at the time we started with 60, I'm overseeing 59 people that I've never met in my life, trying to tell them to do things and get them organized in a situation where I was going to fail no matter what. That's not something that you see at boot camp that happens right away. That's something that we take on day one. People are in different billets, you're performing and doing different things, and you're being evaluated. And you're the one who's on the line when everything goes wrong, even if you're not the one that failed. You're individualized, you're called out, and they're going to chirp and remind you that you don't have to be here, that we don't have to accept you, and you're this close from seeing the door and walking away because you don't have what it takes to lead the men and women that are preparing to be under your charge. So I would say in totality, there's a little bit more of a difference of shift on what we expect and how we grade people, but some similarities are the same. We're going to have our drill instructors. We're going to have to yell and scream, and we have all the same funny stories and things. It just looks a little bit different. And our end result is not, okay, get through this, go to SOI. It's, hey, get ready and go to 6 more months of the basic school
Yeah.
to really get your hands dirty and what it looks like to lead and be able to be a rifleman and be able to lead in the infantry first before anything else.
I don't think a lot of people realize that after OCS, or is this the 2 6 weeks is platoon leader course, right? PLC,
Yep.
that was okay.
PLC.
So after those, it's not like you said, it's not go to SOI or MCT, it's TBS. And then after TBS, like if you go to officer infantry course, or I suppose other officers go to their schooling,
Yeah, you're in my
right?
school.
Or school. So I mean, you're looking at well over a half a year, what, maybe even close to a year before you get in front of a
Close to a year.
yeah.
Yeah. Between, depending on wait time, TBS in itself is 6 to 7 months. You'll do that 10 week, which, cuts up to almost close to that 3 month mark. Right. And then you have your MOS school, and depending on what your MOS is, comm school is 6 months. So
Wow.
you have a really long time until you're hitting this mysterious fleet that we keep hearing about, right? At the
The
time
unicorn.
that you have no idea, and at this time, through officer candidate school, the enlisted are in charge of you, right? Because you're a candidate, you're nothing. Then you go to the basic school, you're a second lieutenant, but you have, a captain that's in charge of you and other officers, but you're still interacting with enlisted personnel. But there's this, like, you're in a school setting. So you're still learning from people. You're not fully leading, but you're not leading. You're still leading your peers. You're being evaluated in that sense. And then here's your MOS, and you have a certain amount of time to learn it before you got to go out there. And I will say this with the most humble heart. I'm a logistics officer, and my Lance Corporal was able to do the job logistics better than I could day one. And that's because they are focused, they're taught on the systematic approaches of what it's supposed to look like. My job was supervising, seeing everything, be able to help make the decisions and see the big picture and make things move. But on TCPT, my Lance Corporal knew way more than I did, but that's how they're trained, right? We
Mhm.
train our enlisted to be able to specialize in a specific manner and a thing, and to do their job and do it well when they're given commands. And then as the officer, we need to have a scope of what everyone's doing and kind of make art with how everyone's moving and functioning and making decisions for a higher level impact. So that's the best way, I guess, as an officer. I'm hoping I'm doing a good job describing the difference, but like how it works and why that's the expectation straight away.
Yeah, no, I mean, both of us have had, well, I mean, I've had some incredible officers. One you may actually know, he's going to be taking over command of SOI West on June 1st, Colonel Tom Carey, and just an
Mm.
incredible guy. Had some just great officers. But one of the unfortunate things about it, and I get the fraternization and things of that nature, is we never, when you're in, you don't get to have these kinds of conversations. And everybody, and there's a reason for it. I understand it. I respect it. We all have to know our role, stay in our lane, and accomplish our tasks. Right. So I still to this day, I got out as a corporal. And when people ask me, they're like, "Hey, buddy, what are your thoughts on the Iran war?" I'm like, "That's above my pay grade, bud. Mm, No idea, above my pay grade." So it truly is great to be able to have you come in here and like break things down, explain this. And I know this is going to be beneficial to people because I get the questions all the time about the different things. So appreciate it. Thank you very much. With that said, all right, we went from the college days. We talked about the bobsledding and OCS now fleet things. I want to talk about this book in front of you because where this came from, the inspiration, everything behind it that led up to it.
Yeah. So background on this. This is one of my most prized possessions. One of my greatest accomplishments and achievements was stemming from conversations such as this. Several years ago, when I started this journey, I actually was not on social media. I wanted to just be kept to myself. And I realized that if at the time I were to make it, I wanted to share my story and be vulnerable with other people to ultimately impact and inspire, which has always been my two words. I want to impact and I want to inspire, regardless of maybe what other people think. And what I was noticing is a lot of these conversations I was having, oftentimes, as you stated, I was the only female to appear a lot of times in the recruiting room. I've never met a female officer. And I'm like, well, that's my story was growing up as a young girl. I never wanted to be a Marine because I never saw a female Marine. I never saw one that looked like me, that acted like me. And to be completely honest, when the recruiter first talked to me, I was like, "You have women in the Marine Corps?" I literally didn't know. That wasn't me being like silly. Like I just didn't know. And growing up in
Right.
Indiana, there's no Marine bases. So how was I supposed to have that figured out? I didn't come from a military family.
Sure.
So writing the book, that first initial thought process was I kept being asked the same question. Did you always want to be a Marine since you were younger? Or was this a goal or is it a new family? I'd be like, absolutely not. So I'm being interviewed in DC, and out loud they say at the time I believe I was maybe 25 or 26. For reference, I'm 29 now. And they asked me, what's next? Everyone loves that. Like, what's next? You've done all this great stuff. And I said, well, before I'm 30, I'm going to write a book. And I just left it as that. And I said it on air, on, television that was going to go out nationally. And I'm like, the next day I was like, oh, frick, I just said that. I got to do it. But I had time because I gave myself a deadline. I said, before I'm 30, I'm still haven't hit
Right.
that yet. So I'm good. And there was a day where I had just found out that I had fractured my foot a week before we were doing team trials to make the following team. I just came off the national team, had a very successful season. I had to put on a lot of weight. I was training as hard as I can, balancing Marine Corps and bobsled training. And it was just too much too fast, fractured my foot a week prior to our team tryouts for ranking selection for the following year. And I noticed at that moment I had two options. One, I could sit and feel sorry for myself while I had to elevate my foot, or I could use this time that the Lord gave me of rest and do some of the other things that I felt called upon me. And so I just started writing. And at the time, I did not know I wanted to write a children's book until I continued to have that realization that I'm able to public speak. It's my favorite thing. I'm able to be on podcasts. I love it. But I'm not hitting the younger demographic, which means I'm not hitting the younger Riley and inspiring them, and the ages of 4 to 8 is when we start processing our thoughts and our beliefs and our limitations amongst ourselves of what we're able to do. If you talk to a 3-year-old, that childlike playfulness that they can do anything and they're invincible is beautiful. But then as they get older, that tends to go away. And especially in this generation. So I'm like, I'm writing to children and I'm writing to that age group. So I wrote this book, If You Can Dream It, Be It, which is a true story, literally about my life. And everyone in it's a real character. And it's basically about a young girl in third grade trying to figure out who am I going to become when I'm older? And basically society telling her, hey, you can only do one thing. I'm going to put you in this box. But she interviews people in her life that inspires her. And all these people do different kinds of things. And ultimately, without giving it away, it's a 12-minute read, so it's fine. Um, young Riley realizes, you know what, I'm going to do all of these things despite what people tell me. And through time, dedication, she's able to accomplish these things, able to be a Marine officer, a professional athlete, an author, as well as a pageant winner, which shows a lot of diversity amongst what you're able to do. But ultimately, the end of it is her going back into classrooms and educating the youth and the next generation. If I can do it, you can do it too. If you can dream it, if you can visualize it, if you can see it, there's no reason why you can't. And so that's just my goal ultimately. Obviously, young women, but also men too, but also a little heads up to parents like, hey, your kids are watching everything that you do, how you interact with them, how you involve them about what you have done in your job and your work, or how you treat people is being watched, and that behavior is going to be mirrored. So ultimately, um, it's been the greatest gift. I've gotten more joy from sharing this book with kids and having that light bulb moment when they realize, wait, I can do multiple things. And my favorite was a young boy the other day telling me that he wants to be an astronaut and a dog walker. And the fact that he could be an astronaut and a dog walker together just like absolutely blew his mind. And I do the positive affirmations with them, letting them know that they're loved, strong, and brave. And I know that I'm at least doing what I can do to leave a positive impact on children, even if it's small and they may not remember it, all the way to someone that now has seen a female Marine or has seen a female exceed in these capacities and know that there's no reason why they couldn't if they choose to as well.
So when exactly did the book come out? What was the first date?
Yeah, it came out March of 2025 because I was deployed in 2024 and we had to push it 5 months to the right,
Okay, so if it came out in 25, 5
a
years
little over a
old,
year.
let's say a 5-year-old or something gets their hand on it. So it's already been 1 year. We're looking at, I'm not good at math because I was an enlisted Marine,
Yeah, don't do
but
math out loud.
right, right. I'm sliding off my sandals here and looking down on my toes, trying to figure this all out. But how crazy is it going to be? And I'm sure you've had this thought because you're just that type of person that fast forward however many years,
Mhm.
someone's like, I read your book and this is what I've done.
Yeah, I try as best as I can to make a personal note in every single book. And so I say that because if people want to order it, I'm like, just message me. I have a stash. I'll handwrite it. I'll send it out and whatever it looks like. And that is because I want to have that impact. And that the note that I want to write to them is I may never meet you, and maybe you do follow along, or maybe you don't, but you know that there's a personalized message that someone has cared for you, has prayed for you, and has believed in you to some capacity to do whatever it is that you're going to do. And the world's going to be better because of it. And even to this day, I've been active duty for 7 years now. I have individuals on their officer candidate application package saying, "I wanna join the Marine Corps because of Captain Riley Tejcek," and I've actually have a couple of those saved on my phone, and to this day, I'm honest with it. Some names I don't recall, some names I do, some days I remember these people, some days I don't. I think what it means to me is doing the most I can while I'm on this earth, using the God-gifted abilities and talents to just believe in other people and help them achieve whatever it is that they wanna do. And if I can do that, shoot, Lord, you can take me and I feel good about it. And that's just my goal, which is why I said to you, Mike, there's no podcast I believe is not worth getting on. I am 6 months pregnant, so I try to work with my husband and prioritize things, right, with all these things that we do. But I believe that the power of stopping, talking to people, interacting with them, letting them know that you believe in them or you see them, or giving them even the time of day will make the biggest difference. And if we can all do that, imagine the domino effect that could happen in this world.
It doesn't cost anything to be a good person. And
That's right.
because this isn't about me, we'll talk about it when we wrap up, about something that happened, some people we've worked with. But yeah, I am super excited. I know some people. I know Neil's going to be ordering the book, and
Yep.
I know we have
Yep.
this incredible Discord community that we've started where we've been helping a ton of people, and there's people in there that have kids and everything like that. So I know you might be getting requests for little personalized notes coming up here soon. Like they're crazy. They're just crazy loyal. You know how veterans are. Like we
Yeah.
have things from different events and nonprofits, and they buy the stuff, and it's a beautiful thing. So now I do have to say this because we're Marines, and even though we have a very good, positive, everything, does it ever make you scared when someone, says, "Hey, I want to join the Marine Corps because of you," and you're like, "Oh no!" Like, hopefully, God, hopefully, it's a great experience for them.
Honestly, no. And the reason why is because if you're following anything that I've done or I have said, I make it very clear up front that this is not an easy path. and it comes with a whole lot of good times and bad times and everything in between. And I try to be, just to your point when you said, I try to be openly honest. There are times when I can say the best things about it, and there's times when I've had really rough days where I'm like, I don't know. I question my life decisions sometimes, but in totality, I believed what it has done and what it can do for people to set you up for success, whether you serve 4 years, whether you make a career, is ultimately up to you of what you're going to get out of it. The Marine Corps will give you every single tool opportunity to be able to exceed and be a better version of yourself should you choose to accept and take it. Does that mean it's going to be easy? No. Does that mean you're going to like the answer all the time? Absolutely not. Get used to no and get used to just saying, I ma'am, I sir, and that's just going to be that. But ultimately, I do believe that in totality, we leave you better than we found you. And I think majority of veterans would agree. It does not mean that it's easy. It doesn't mean that it hasn't has maybe scars later on down the road, but there is some goodness to it that you can take. And my hope and thought and dream and process for everyone that says, hey, I'm doing this because of you, and make it clear you're not going to have the same journey as me. I'm not going to have the same journey as you. But this is your own decision. You're not doing it for me. You're not doing it for your family. You're doing it because you believe that this is what's right for you. And then ultimately, if it's not the case, you're the only one that lives with the decision. Have extreme ownership in that.
So I'm gonna get to say something I've never been able to say here before in my life is to piggyback after what the
Oh
captain just
man,
said here, right? I have a sergeant major now that I get to say that all the time too. Piggyback off what
finally,
sergeant major just said, right?
finally got to do
I've like moved up, man. Like life is getting
it.
good.
You're just ranking. You just keep ranking up,
Uh,
man. You're up the ladder
yeah,
now.
yeah. So, but like on a very serious note, you talked about becoming a better like a tools and become a better version of yourself. And I just want to even drive that hard home even harder because it's something we see a lot in the veteran community is we all made a decision, a commitment to become better versions of ourselves. And I believe that we did. And by getting out and not continuing the fight, right?
Mm,
Just because the uniform's not on anymore doesn't mean that the brotherhood doesn't exist. Doesn't mean that we still don't have that fighter inside of us. And it doesn't mean that we don't continue to become better versions of ourselves. We committed to it once before, keep it going. And so I use those words all the time. And when you said a better version of yourself is just like this is, you know, because it's tough out there. It's tough out there.
yeah.
And you know, we see it every single night,
Yeah.
you know. The
It would behoove you to hold on to those values long after you're out of the Marine Corps.
yes. Yes.
I
I
think it's
just
a
behooved you.
decision. I, I will just touch on this really fast. I'm not a veteran, but I what I can say about the veteran community, good and bad. To your point, we have some extremely loyal people that have been in it, that get it, that want to just stand by and support. And I think everyone can recognize veteran suicide and all of those things that can come with it. We want to rally behind our people and help them progress forward. However, I say this: no one is worse on our own than our own. And the veteran community, as well as other active duty members, but mostly veterans, um, can absolutely be the most brutal and ruthless people I've ever met in my life to other individuals. And I just say that in sense of this: no matter how long you serve for, when you serve for, what your MOS is, whether you deployed or whether you did not, every individual experience is different, but we all chose the same thing. So there's a commonality among us, even if it looks very different. And I don't think it's very wise for individuals that hold that anger and bitterment that they may have experienced it and put it out onto other people that are either currently serving or other veterans. I think we're less than 1% of the population that need to unite and stand together. We're brothers and sisters in arms. That does not mean iron does not sharpen iron. So if you don't see something, right, say something and step in. But how about we do it with a spirit of love and compassion for one another, knowing that we have all sacrificed and gone through things that we all know we don't always show, that people don't
Mhm.
always see, and that there's no need to make someone feel less than to make you feel more than. And I say this, if no one thanked you or you didn't get the opportunities or recognition, let me be the first to say, I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you served. I don't care what your story was. You are seen, you are recognized, and you are valued for what you have done. But please don't put that grudge onto someone else and be a reason why they can't enjoy their service or make them feel less than. Let's continue to uplift one another in our community and correct people by doing it with a loving, compassionate manner, all on the same team. We don't have to be pinned against one another.
100%. We say that every single night when we have the virtual barracks. I don't care what your MOS was, what your rank was, what branch. One team, one love, one fight. We're all here together. And when you really think about it, and maybe I don't know, you're already here. Maybe whenever you're finally retired and done, you'll. But me being like 20 years removed, I can step back and look at just the entire might of the entire armed forces and everything that we did and accomplished together. And, you know, meals and water and bullets and everything that it takes, and people that put themselves in harm's way to do convoys. You know, it's all of us together that make this experience so. I don't know if I want to use the word great because, you know, I went to, Afghanistan twice, Iraq once. They weren't the greatest things, but they turned out better than if we would have had everybody with us, right? And and then on the flip side too, to what you're saying about like, don't, you know, we tell people like, thank God you don't have a car. Thank God you don't have a Purple Heart. Like, don't feel less than,
Mhm.
and honestly, I'll be the first one to say, yeah, I got out as a meritorious corporal. I would have gotten out as like a fifth award private if we wouldn't have had wartime.
Mhm.
I would have been the worst garrison Marine ever. Right. I would have gotten so much. So I have so much admiration and respect for the people that stand up to be there for our country when and if they're needed.
Mhm.
So, you know, everybody listening, yeah, we've been talking about this a lot lately because there's a lot of that going on. People, you know, I wish I had medals and different things like that. And it's like they're not all they're cracked up to be. We can
Yeah,
promise you that, right?
yeah. And it doesn't mean just because you didn't have that, that you weren't valued and you weren't a part of the team.
Yeah,
And that's just the end of it. That's just the end of it. I get it. You want accolades, you want awards, but at the end of the day, as Marines, we don't do it for the recognition. And we you don't need to be validated in that. Your purpose and your worth is not defined by your service or what you did. You were a part of something regardless, and everyone should be welcoming you with open arms.
yeah. We only do it for two things. Let's be honest: Eagle Glove and Anchor and Dress Blues. If you got those two,
Mm.
you won.
You're
You
in.
won, right? I got this book. I don't know
What
if you've
else?
ever
What
read
else?
the Miracle at Bella Wood. We're a couple six Marines guys here. And they're talking about the Marines that joined back in 1917 and the guys that wanted to join because they wanted the dress blues, they wanted the women. And I'm like, it's been over 100 years. Well, not over 100. It's been over 100 years. And like, are you kidding me? They were the same way back then. Just Marines. We are the same till the end of time. It's never going to change. So, if you got the dress blues and you got the Eagle Love and Anchor, you won. You won the game. All right. That's all I got to say. Is there anything? Well, do you want to talk about what's coming up in like 3 months? I can do that
Yeah.
math. I can do that math. 6 plus 3 is 9.
Yeah, I touched on it. I touched on it a little bit, but I'm 6 months pregnant, so yeah, 3 months, that would be 9, that's good. I'm gonna have, my first child with my incredible, husband, and we can't wait to welcome, our son into this world and start a new chapter of life. I My biggest thing that I'm trying to lead from the front in this capacity too is being able to be a service member while having a child and still serving, and the capacity and role that I'm able to continuously be a mother while also being a service member, while also being a wife, and the ability to have a family while you're serving, should you choose to. Not that you have to, but it is available to you. And just because you decide to have a family does not mean that you're not capable or able to do things in your career, such as in the military. And so I can't wait for this next chapter of life. That's something I had said out loud when people were like, "What's next?" I said, "I can't wait to become a mom." And now I'm just praise the Lord that this is a chapter that I'm able to start to walk in here soon. That's going to be full of, maybe that's going to be the hardest thing over bobsled in the Marine Corps. I don't know, but raising a a son is something that I look forward to more than anything, and I can't wait to do it alongside my husband and the experience that comes with that. And going to do everything I can to be vulnerable and open and honest to continuously show people what that journey looks like and let them know that they can have families while serving. You don't have to pick one or the other.
How long is it gonna take? Like, how many days or even hours is it gonna take before the first book you read him? is if you can
Mm.
dream it big.
We'll see. We'll see. I would like to say that it's going to be the first, but I don't know. I have not decided with my husband what we're going to read to him first. But my husband was a Royal Marine, so he might have other things of different words and things that he wants to say and teach him some English terms. So we'll have to see on that one.
We need to see
Awesome.
the picture. We need to see the picture in the hospital, right? Like with the book. You've got to do that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
And I will say
So
this: you enjoy it. It is awesome. Congratulations to you guys. It's the best. It really is. You guys are gonna love it.
Thank you.
You're gonna love it. But I do gotta warn you. Later on down the road, a few years down the road, it comes up a lot quicker than you think it does. Will come a time where your son will call you cringy and think that you're not cool. Doesn't matter that you were a Marine, and then you just got to sit back and take it. It happens.
Yeah.
Happened to me. I didn't think it could happen.
we used to
It
be
does.
cool.
Used
We
to
used
be.
to be really cool, man. What
Yeah.
happened?
Now she
Time
just looks
happened.
at me like I'm yeah, Dad. Really?
Well,
Come
I
on.
did it to my parents.
yeah.
It's gonna come back around.
Well, I mean, we appreciate you so. I mean, if there's anything else that you want to talk about, obviously we're going to have the links to your socials and the different things, and the link so people can buy the book. Right, it's down here in the description. Open it up, click. You can buy the book. Now, I do want to ask real quick: if there is somebody looking for a message from you, is there a
Mm.
different way to go about purchasing the book?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want to buy the book and you want a personal signed message, just shoot me a message on LinkedIn, Instagram. However, I always respond, and I'll be sure to get that out to you and communicate the best way to do it. Or if you're like, I just want it, obviously Amazon, Barnes and Noble through my publisher. That's easy to just get your hands on. But anything you want personally signed, like I said, I do it. Just reach out to me personally. But that goes even further. If anyone's listening to this, I don't care who you are or where you come from. If there's anything that resonates with you, or you want to talk further, or you want an ally or a resource or anything, like I said, reach out to me, Instagram or LinkedIn. I'm not on Facebook, one Instagram, one LinkedIn account. You can't miss it. As long as you say something that's appropriate, I will respond to you within 48, 72 hours and be willing to come alongside you, be an ally in any capacity. So, my main thing is I know podcasts like this gets to go and reach people that maybe I've never met or don't know who I am. But I'm here to impact and inspire, and I stand by that. So anything that I can do to ever better anyone else's life, I'm all in. And please reach out.
It's incredible. I'm so glad that we were finally able to meet up, and I mean, truly an honor, like truly an honor, like to have you on, and your story and everything is just so incredible, and just can't thank you enough for being here with us.
It, before I know you got to run. I'm so sorry. You don't have to expand on this or anything. I didn't know this. Just please forgive my ignorance of the sport, but a lot of people don't. And I just looked this up. A lot of people don't realize that those bobsleds they can weigh up to what close to 500 pounds.
Yeah.
So if they fall on you, it's not really going to be cushioned like.
Oh no. Oh no. Yeah. So bobsleds weigh minimally 400 pounds, and they're full of fiberglass and all this kind of stuff. So when you get crushed and you're, oh, by the way, crushed at 90 miles an hour at once up against
Yeah.
ice, you're experiencing constant head, neck, brain injury, but also burns called ice burns, that it burns
Mhm.
your
Oh
skin
my
from ice,
God.
literally
Yeah.
from the outside in, second, third degree burns. I've blacked out, woken up, no idea where I am, broken bones, broken body. Some people don't recover and make it. So when I say crashing a bobsled was
Mm.
scarier than anything in the Marine Corps, hands down, one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life.
Uh,
But it's the resilience to get back in and conquer that fear, to continue to keep going. And that's what drove me to keep at it. Was I'm not going to let this fear win, even though it was hands down the scariest thing in my life. And I'm so glad I never have to deal with it again. So yeah.
no, it's awesome.
Absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. Well, sister, thank you so much for coming on. You're just such an incredible person. I love the everything that you had to say. God, I love it. I love those words getting out there. To the people that regularly follow us and beyond. It's beautiful. It's incredible. And to all of you that are out there that support everything that we do and share this information and these stories, we love you all, and we wouldn't be able to do it without you guys. And remember, if you need anything, we're here. Don't hesitate, reach out. And until next time, Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.